Just give me 10 minutes and I will download into your brain the advice that took me the last 10 years to grasp. As you know, I play and teach bass. I've shredded solo bass in dingy bars, laid it down in big, beautiful theaters, unironically worn a kilt on festival main stages, and I've gotten pretty good. What you probably don't know, I've actually been playing guitar just as long as bass. I always wanted to be a double threat and also shred the guitar, but it has not panned out. I am not a great guitarist. So why did I get this good on bass, but only this good on guitar? What has kept me mediocre on guitar, and what can bust you out of the mediocre zone? From the last 10 years of learning, I can boil it down to 6 things. And the first step is to master the art of wiggling your fingers around aimlessly, noodling. Wait, but doesn't everyone say noodling is a waste of time? Yes, they do. But Slash wrote the Sweet Child of Mine riff off of a random noodle. Jam bands like Fish and The Dead made massive careers noodling entire sets of music. The guitarist for The Offspring literally goes by the name Noodles. Noodling is some of the most fun, liberating shit you can do with your bass. But with great noodling comes great responsibility. See, on guitar, I made the mistake of noodling kind of carelessly, but on bass, I noodled really strategically, which not only made practice more fun, it actually helped me learn faster. So how did I do it? Well, you know when a movie is like pretty good, but then the ending sucks? How do you feel walking out of the theater? Bad. Or if the movie was a little throughout, but then the ending wrapped it all up perfectly, it's not so bad. This is the power of what nerds call the peak end rule. Yes, psychologists have made a groundbreaking discovery. When thing end good, you like more. So you should let yourself noodle, but try it at the end of a session. You still get your productive practice in, but then you finish with fun noodles and you leave feeling like, wow, that was fun. And guess what? You'll want to play your bass more. And to prove this actually works and it's not about talent or magic, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to use the exact advice in this video and apply it to my guitar practice to hopefully sound more like this and less like this. It'll be a tough road, but at least I get to noodle at the end. And the fun of noodling is crucial to nail the next piece of this puzzle, the right amount of practice consistency. But what is the right amount? I've heard so many teachers say you should practice for multiple hours every day. The more time you dedicate, the more dope you'll play the bass. It sounds nice, but like, do you have time for that? Seriously, I really don't have time for that. I'm working full time, I'm gigging, I'm planning my wedding, I gotta mow the lawn. Just like, where are these hours coming from? Frankly, back when I first built my bass skills, I did put in mega time. And if you're doing quality practice and keeping your life together, then yeah, more time equals more progress, for sure. But when life got busy and I couldn't keep up with mega practice, I kinda just let it slide. Especially with guitar, there'd be weeks or even months where I wouldn't pick it up at all. So obviously we need some middle ground here between mega practice and just totally giving up. And turns out there's a lot of science in favor of consistency. Frequent distributed practice wins over infrequent mega sessions. Plus, the rest you take between practice helps you form memories, and sleep helps your brain finish learning new motor skills. And I've seen the power of consistency on bass. It's been rare that I don't pick it up at least a few times a week over all these many years. While my guitar chops have gotten and stayed rusty as hell while it sits in this closet. The trick is to put in the time you have, not the time you wish you had, and just show up as often as you can. I've had to learn this much more in the last 10 years of pretending to be an adult than I did when I was younger and had nothing to do but practice and write songs about bananas. Bananas and day. And this is part of how my Beginner to Badass course actually gets you results on bass. It makes consistency easy because all you have to do is show up and watch the next bite-sized lesson on a schedule that fits the time you actually have. Just click the link in the description or head to bassbuzz.com to check it out. But to up the stakes on my guitar challenge, I'm only allowed to practice 20 minutes a day for the 2-week period to show it's about consistency, not mega time. And to mark my progress, I'm learning Back in Black by AC/DC. AC/DC bass lines are mostly pretty easy. But this guitar part is actually quite hard for me. It'll force me to clean up my string crossing and shitty picking, and as you can hear, I sound like shit on it. But just showing up consistently isn't gonna cut it. None of this works unless you focus on the right stuff in your practice. This aspect of how I got good on bass is where a lot of people flounder for years. I would regularly set goals, like everyone tells you to, including me, just now. Like, I want to increase my slap speed enough to play along with this Victor Wooten track, and then I'd work to achieve that goal. But this didn't seem to work as well for me on guitar. Like, take my rendition of the classic Bach Bourrée, one of my main guitar goals. It doesn't all sound terrible, but the problem is this is exactly how it sounded a year ago, and I've made no real progress. And compare this to a legit classical guitarist, it's just not very good playing. So on guitar, my habit is to try to play a piece, stumble my way through it, think about how bad it sounded, and then half-assedly try again. It's not great. So focusing on the right stuff doesn't just mean picking a song you want to learn and then smashing your head against it. It takes identifying and fixing the weak points in your playing that are keeping you from that goal. So I know my goal is to not embarrass myself when I play You Back in Black at the end of the video, but just playing it over and over probably isn't gonna get me there. Because if you practice playing crappily, like I have for many years with guitar, you just get better at playing crappily. And to solve that, you need this next piece of advice. And to give you that, I need to tell you a story. When I started on electric bass, I was also learning upright bass, working weekly with Karen Zimmerman of the Santa Rosa Symphony. She was an amazing and supportive teacher who taught me a lot as a player and a teacher, especially about technique. See, on upright bass, it's really important to not let your elbow drop. It like screws with your strength and your intonation, and I kept dropping my elbow. So Karen would lovingly place a very sharp pencil right below where my elbow should be. So, she didn't stab me at all. It's just if I chose to drop my elbow below where it should go, then I would stab myself. And guess what? I never drop my elbow anymore. Ever. What I learned from this very legal teaching method, which is definitely not corporal punishment, was that bad technique has consequences. Sometimes that's your teacher stabbing you, but most of the time it's that you have to struggle way harder to play anything. So at some point you have to face it and fix your bad technique. Because I never took guitar as seriously as bass, I've been pretty careless with my technique. I'm certain I'm still holding a pick wrong. I never drilled my string crossing, so I'm always like picking the wrong string, and it's very annoying. And I still don't know what to do with these extra strings. So I'm here, I'm doing this guitar challenge. I'm ready to stab myself with the pencil, figuratively speaking. But how do you know what bad technique actually is? This is where you need expert input on your technique, like I had with my upright bass teacher. Then you can learn to apply it on your own. So to dial in my guitar practice, I got some technique guidance from my buddy and favorite guitar teacher, Alex Leach. Okay, Alex, why do I suck at guitar?
Oh, buddy, you don't suck at guitar.
Thanks. Okay, we're done.
Whenever you grip a chord, you should always be thinking about that next chord. With your picking hand, you need to tighten up your movements a little bit. Find a place on the guitar to anchor your picking hand.
Having direct feedback from a good teacher is great, but most people don't have access to one, or the time, or the money. Personally, I've just been lazy, and I want to learn guitar without having to talk to anybody. So how can you learn to give yourself teacher-level feedback? I see a lot of bad advice on this floating around the music education space. The word on the street basically goes, YouTube is okay, courses are better, but a private teacher is the gold standard because you get feedback on your playing. And there's some truth to that. I've taught thousands of one-on-one lessons, and I've definitely seen the value of people getting direct feedback. Otherwise, I owe a lot of people their money back. But what about legendary musicians who didn't have a teacher? Billy Sheehan, king of all shredders, learned on his own playing in bars and clubs. Paul McCartney taught himself to play bass when no one else wanted to play it. Tina Weymouth taught herself in just a few months. These folks must have had some kind of self-feedback method, or they'd still be struggling with bad technique and rhythm. Whether you have a teacher or not, ultimately you have to learn the same skill, to assess your own playing critically and improve it. A good teacher can help you build your self-assessment skills and give you criteria to assess with, but they can't fix your playing for you. As someone who developed way above average technique on electric bass without any formal instruction, I'm a big believer in how much we can teach ourselves. And to shamelessly plug my course again, this is something I'm really proud of about Beginner to Badass. It doesn't just give you fish, it teaches you how to fish by testing your self-feedback skills. There's definitely a fish, bass, bass joke in there somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So to level up my guitar challenge again, I'm gonna record my practice, then watch the videos back and assess myself using what I learned from my lesson with Alex. And before I show you how much progress I was able to make, I've got one last piece of advice, which is maybe the most missed in traditional music education. It's gonna sound obvious, but it's something you must do to develop real skills on any instrument. Because when it feels like the world is just throwing you theory and scales and exercises, don't forget to actually learn songs. Because yes, part of how I learned bass was learning my scales and doing finger exercises, but I also know and have played in real life thousands of songs. Like, I don't even know how to count how many. And when I really think about my guitar playing, I don't know if I've ever actually played a full song all the way through, the way it goes on the record. Oops. So yeah, do what every musician you admire has done for time immemorial. Learn songs. Whole, real songs. Songs teach you more than just your instrument, they teach you how music works. And speaking of songs, my time is up. Let's see if I suck any less at guitar. Okay, I think I suck a little less. So if you want a free 7-day method that'll help you learn good technique habits and how to play a real song by the end, click here to watch 7 days to learning bass. According to this guy and everyone who upvoted the comment, it's like 4 months of education in one video. I don't even need to brag. People brag for me.